Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us a bird, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best and we're successful. Come watch our show, Red River sponsors. It's time to start, enjoy the show.
Welcome in everyone, it's Betting Weekly Live. We are set for another huge week of sporting action here. And I'm delighted to be joined by Premier League handicapper and journalist, Lewis Jones. How's it going, my man?
Yeah, all good, Steve. All good in the hood. How are you? Good weekend of punting?
Yeah, generally pretty good. I've watched quite a lot of soccer over the weekend, and had my usual ups and downs. And we're into the stage of a season now where we've got a bit more form to go on. So I kind of like this period. The next international break, I never want it to come now. It really frustrates me when it comes. I'm just getting into a rhythm. You've been winning? You've been winning or losing, or a bit of both?
A bit of both. It's Saturday. Really frustrating bet I had in the Brighton versus Chelsea game, which scuppered a few doubles and trebles, which I had rolling over of the under corners line in the under corners line for Chelsea, which I thought was just begging to be back, because Brighton don't really ship many corners. They don't really have teams that sustain attacks on their goal. And the price was just wild. But I was sitting pretty at half time. Chelsea had won no corners, and I was on under. I only needed under 6.5 to come in, so I was sitting very pretty. Guess how many corners Chelsea had in a 20-minute spell just after half time?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You're going to get a glutton of corners or not corners when you want them or don't want them.
Seven in 20 minutes it was, Steve, when they were 4-2 up. So the game state was not exactly in a corner winning favour either. So I'm still not over that one, to be honest. That was a real strange one to see all the corners flowing in. We made a bit back on Sunday with some over cards bets in the Villa versus Ipswich game, and a bit of Brennan Johnson shots against Man United, but no one likes an after timer, do they? So let's get going, looking ahead rather than back.
I felt a bit unfortunate. I was on over 4.5 goals in the Leipzig game, 4-0 up after 52 minutes. Ooh. And then they just settle for it. There was a missed penalty as well by Augsburg in that fixture. So, but that's the game, isn't it? You win some, you lose some. We've got today, we're going to be looking at a big match in the English Premier League. I'm actually probably dressing that up a bit too much. It's not really that big, is it? Bournemouth against Southampton, Monday Night Football over here in the Premier League. Then we've got a couple of matches in Spain and Italy. We're going to be touching the League of Ireland as well. And I've got a Swedish bet to round off the show for us. Welcome in, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend. How did your betting go over the weekend? Let us know. Some comments here. Ming Chung, we're looking forward to the show. I say every week that Southampton could be underrated. I just hope they aren't naive here. And Suburman Goucher says Bournemouth moneyline and under 4.5. Southampton will be lucky to get one. That's where we've got to start. Premier League, Monday Night Football, Bournemouth, Southampton. Here we are with some latest odds. Actually, there's been a drift on Bournemouth compared to this graphic. They can now be backed at minus 215 on the money line. The tie is plus 375 and Southampton are plus 525. Actually, sorry, not a drift. I'm getting confused completely. There's been money for Bournemouth. Minus 215 now on that money line. Would you be trusting Bournemouth as the outright favourite here, Lewis? I mean, how do you see it going? Because I feel like I've seen split opinions for this match. You're either in the Bournemouth camp or you're either in the Southampton camp. I'm actually going to sit on the fence a bit, but I mean,
I'll come and join you on the fence if there's room, Steve. Yeah, no, I'm definitely. I think the prices are right, really, in the outright, the money line. I think Bournemouth are a team that I struggle to get right, to be honest. I do quite fancy them every time they play one of the bigger boys, but they always seem to play very well and look threatening at times in the game, but end up getting absolutely hammered every time they play them. So I'm a little bit my confidence is quite low. We're trying to read Bournemouth. I think this is normally a better spot for them in a team at home against a team they're expected to dominate. But I'm looking at the unders line here. It's actually in the goals market. I just think both teams attack. I just don't trust that both teams attack to finish their chances. Actually, it's been a story of their season so far for both teams. Really, sort of an inability to convert those chances into goals, and you can actually see that by the XG numbers, which sort of ranks underperformance in front of goal. So Bournemouth rank 18th for XG underperformance, and Southampton rank bottom of the Premier League for underperformance. So they're getting into quite good positions, but I'm not sure if they've got the finishers actually in the front end of the pitch to really take advantage of these chances.
You take note of these underperformances. I mean, we all look at XG and stuff nowadays, and I think there's two chains of thoughts. Either there's those out there who say, "Oh, do you know what? These stats are going to go back to the mean and the norm, and they will start taking their chances, etc., etc." Other people just say, "Do you know what? This team just don't have the finishers." Or in the defensive overperformance, you could say the goalkeeper's so good that you've almost got to bank on him to make some saves. Which sort of camp are you in there, Lewis? Do you sort of think over the long term it's going to balance itself out, or are you looking individual?
I think you have to be flexible, really. I think there's quite some nuanced things to really sort of analyse, to be honest. And I think in this case, it is actually, in Bournemouth's case, I do think it is actually the fact they've got poor finishers in attack. And I'm just wondering if the fact they've lost like Dominic Solanke is really sort of being factored into the market enough for these goals prices, because the replacement they brought in Evan Nilsson from Porto, wasn't it? He looks quite busy and he looks a real fit for their style of football, but just his early signs, I think, in front of goal, it looks quite a wayward, sketchy sort of finisher. He's obviously still young and he can improve, but I've always got a little bit of a red flag with those type of guys who play in the forward line who are bad finishers, because I'm not sure it's something that you can actually improve on despite your young age. I just think if you're born a bad finisher, I think you'll always be a bad finisher. I'm not really sure you can really work on it. And I think Nicholas Jackson's actually got the same problem at Chelsea. I don't think he'll ever become a consistent goal scorer in the Premier League, just because I'm not sure you can teach it, to be honest. That sort of natural instinct in front of goal is very instinctive and natural. So, yeah, I'm just looking at Bournemouth's numbers here. They haven't scored more than once in a game in the 6 games without Solanke, apart from the 3-2 they got at Everton, which was a real freak result. That they scored 3 goals very late, all in a sort of a short time period, didn't they? Whereas a bit of a freak comeback. So just looking at the unders line here, I just think it's a little mad. We're at a place now in the Premier League where an unders 2.5 goal line can be at plus 185. This is where we're at now. I know the goal rush of last season, but it's mad to think that we're now sort of having to look at lines as under and over sort of 3.5, aren't we, rather than the 2 line. So I do think Southampton's defence is obviously a little bit leaky, and a worry that if Bournemouth get going, they could just clear that line on their own. But I'm just not sure they have the finishers in their front line, Bournemouth, to take full advantage. And yeah, I would encourage people to have a look at that price. And it's probably be quite a tough watch, because Bournemouth do create a lot of chances, but you just sort of got to hope that Aaron Ramsdale finds his form for Southampton and goal. He's a very good goalkeeper at shot stopping. So, I just think the goal line here just looks a little bit too big for me. And I do think it's one of those bets that probably does lose. But I do think if you back these sort of wrong prices enough in the long term, and I think this is just about a wrong price, you will get ahead. So I would encourage punters to have a little look at the unders, certainly. But I've got a better bet elsewhere, which I'm sure we'll come on to in a minute, Steve.
Yes, just going through the comments here. Shakespeare, good morning. Wishing you all the best there, Shakespeare, with the colonoscopy there. Great to see you in the comments, and we appreciate you coming in each day with your baseball picks. Jack Wright says, yeah, Russell Martin will never change his style. I think that's pretty obvious. He's a bit like Company last season. Jack Wright's got a pick on this game on the Premier League show. Do check that out. It's still available to watch on demand. And it was a great week as Ben here at Betting Weekly Studios. So many winners. James Easton, big shout out to him. He could hardly, he didn't lose. He had a golden clean sweep of all of his picks. Why is the draw at plus 370? I think this is Nigel asking this question. And Ming Chung actually also likes the tie. I think he's got a mistype there. But yeah, draw or tie at plus 370 does look quite big for this game. It is a local derby, as Nigel says. It could be tight. I mean, I'm guessing you would maybe quite like the tie, Lewis. You think in the unders it brings 0-0 or 1-1 into play?
Go hand in hand, don't they? Yeah, that's obviously you have those two score lines on your side if you're back in the unders. And I know Nigel Seeley is very much an unders man. He's of the same persuasion of me, isn't he? He likes to go down the he's happy to watch a football match just be dull and boring, and as long as you're making money, that's all that matters. So yeah, I can definitely see that if you are going to back, if you think the over 2.5 under 2.5 line is value, then definitely the 0-0 and the 1-1 come into the equation, don't they?
They really do, but let's talk about some actual bets then that we do really like for the game. And I'm going to kick us off here. I'm not actually in love with any bet today anywhere across the world, but I do have some bets that I'm going to suggest. I'm looking at a player, Antoine Semenyo, and Jack Wright had him as his hot dog winner anytime scorer the other week. He's plus 165 to score here this evening, but the bet I like is him to have over 1.5 shot on targets at plus 185. This is a guy that averages 3.35 shots per game, and he averages 1.2 shots on target per match this year. This is a softer fixture. He should rack up quite a few shots. His actual shot line is 3.5 at minus money. That didn't interest me. I'd rather see if he can hit the target twice, which is not always a guarantee with this guy. As you say, the Bournemouth finishes are a bit wild. But I think he's going to get opportunities. He does like to shoot. Sometimes it's a bit wild. I'll take my chance at plus 185, Antoine Semenyo over 1.5 shots on target. But I'm not big on this. Just a little bit of a nibble, if you want to say that. You're also looking into the props market, and this is your best bet of the day, Lewis.
Yeah, I really like this one. Really like this bet. It revolves around a player who I think is going to be a superstar actually for Southampton. This sort of the 18-year-old academy prospect Tyler Dibbling, who was wowed actually with his 2 performances so far since bursting into the team at was it the Manchester United game? I think he won a penalty, didn't he, on his debut, and then he scored his first goal of his career last weekend in the 1-1 draw with Ipswich, and he created another big chance for Cameron Archer that day, who hit the post. And I do think his attacking output and the way he sort of moves with the ball reminds me a lot of Jack Grealish actually, and he's and I think he can be put into that category even after 2 games of playing for Southampton. I think he could be, his potential is along those lines. And I know people that have watched him play for the youth team at Southampton, and they think he's set for the top as well. So one of the best things about him is he, a bit like Grealish, he is just a foul drawing king. He's won 8 fouls in his 2 Premier League starts already. And that is a real high average, especially for a young player coming into sort of senior level, to be able to draw fouls like that at that rate. And it really excites me actually when a sort of player bursts into the spotlight, as it does sort of provide us punters with an opportunity to get ahead, I think, in terms of prices with the bookmakers in certain markets, as their algorithms to use to price up these sort of prop markets, the fouls markets, haven't really got any hard data to formulate a true price on. So, and I think this is the case with Tyler Dibbling, who, I say, he's a foul drawing machine. And I think latching on to prices surrounding his foul output, whether that's him to be fouled or the opposition to foul him, I think it's a money-making angle at the moment, whilst the markets are still sleeping on this player a little bit. And Bet Rivers do actually offer a market on player fouls. So his opposite number tonight is Milos Kerkez for Bournemouth. And I just think he looks a brilliant price here. Big value to make 2 or more fouls at plus 140. So Dibbling has started 3 games for Southampton across Premier League and the Carabao. And on each occasion, the opposition left-back has made 2 or more fouls on him. So Joel Bagan made 2 in the Carabao Cup for Cardiff. Diego Dallo made 4 for Man United in that win for United at St Mary's, and also gave away a penalty for a foul on Dibbling. And Leif Davis last weekend for Ipswich also made 2 fouls in the game. So, yeah, a lot more research at the moment is sort of looking at matchups in the prop markets based around wingers up against fullbacks, etc. And I just think this looks like a brilliant opportunity to exploit that. He's a really aggressive defender, actually, Kerkez. He's still quite young as well, so he is quite rash. And I do think he is going to try and put it on Dibbling early on to try and stop him. And Dibbling, under any contact, we say, we've only seen him play 3 times, he just hits the deck. Any sort of contact hits the deck. The referees are buying it. And Kerkez has made 13 fouls in his last 14 starts, so he's pretty consistent in that regard. And he's made 2 versus Liverpool last weekend, so this bet would have been a winner. And he's also playing for a very foul-heavy team, isn't he? Kerkez for Bournemouth. They lead the way actually for fouls conceded this calendar year in the Premier League, so that's a per-game average of 13.79 I suppose it's just a shame the markets are aligned with those numbers in the team fouls markets tonight. So this odds on for over 14.5 Bournemouth fouls, for example. So I just think you've got to concentrate your money here on Kirkes to make 2 or more fouls at plus 140.
Yes, Jason just put in the chat there. He's plus 300 for a card. Maybe you could look at that if it's a persistent fouling. Just going back through the comments here, Jack says over 18.5 shots at minus 106 for the Cherries. Does that tickle anyone's fancy? They do. I think it was 19 shots at Anfield last week, but the total XG was only about 1 for all those 19 shots. They do like to chance their luck. Bournemouth are sort of team. Someone might win goal of the season from Bournemouth because they shoot from some stupid places. They really do. But on a good day, it goes in. The weather, apparently, I hadn't even thought about the weather, actually. It's pretty bad here in Yorkshire today, but, people in the south always claim it's a lot better. But apparently it's bad down there. So
yeah, I'm in Kent, Steve, so I can definitely vouch for that. It's been a miserable day. So yeah, if this wet conditions are on the south coast, let's hope Kirkes gets sliding in hard on Dibbling early doors.
It's not me. Says, anyone think Bournemouth are short? I know Saints are horrible, but Bournemouth have 1 win at home. I mean, this is the argument today. Are you in that Bournemouth camp? Are you in the Southampton camp? I mean, for me personally, I think Bournemouth do look a little bit short, but at the end of the game, they could look quite big. We're going to get a few answers, I think, from some questions after this game. Jason's going to be asking me about the Villarreal game. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Steve Gregory says Brereton in the South Coast derby, plus 375 for him to get books. Yeah, I think this could be getting a bit feisty, I've just got a feeling it might be a few getting stuck in today. Duncan Evans has got a sneaky feeling for Southampton tonight. Monday night games are right for left field results. I mean, there was a time when the Monday night football always ended like 2-2 for a while. I don't know about that one, but maybe, you can get some crazy stuff. The referee is more lenient on wet pitches. That is a fact. Yeah, the refs do let more go. And at COD Gaming says Bournemouth minus 1 Asian handicap looks decent. Like I said earlier, it's a split camp tonight, Lewis. It's feels like maybe not a 50-50, but a 60-40 in Bournemouth's favour. That's where the bettors are going. That's it. I do think that sorry, just in cases like that, I do think when this is the beauty of the modern day world that we live in terms of the opportunities we have, all these different types of markets, the prop markets, everything. There's always some. If you don't fancy anything if they're too tricky to go on the money line or the goals line, there's always these little individual battles in the prop markets or the shots. If you mentioned the Semenyo one there, that's definitely got legs as well. So yeah, especially if you think the game is going to be sort of open and full of shots and full of action, these prop markets are a great alternative, I think, to the traditional ones. Yeah, they certainly are. I'm just looking now at some of the other games on today, but I'll just go through the comments before that. Henry VIII, good day to you. Great to see you. Manchester City, the end of an empire. He says too much going on with them. City, we could have a whole show on City, couldn't we, Lewis? I think that's going to have to be for another day.
Yes, I mean, yeah, I thought they were actually really disappointing on Saturday at Newcastle. That's expected more for them, and if it shows you, if you sort of silence Haaland at the moment, you might be able to stop this City team. So I can definitely see why Arsenal are now favourites in the Premier League title race. Definitely.
Well, we're going to move on. We've got some of the matches today. We've got a League of Ireland game that you're going to talk to us about soon. But I'm going to start us off here with the Serie A fixture. Parma against Cagliari. Parma plus 104 now as we go live on the money line against the Cagliari side, who I think are very, very limited, I must say. There's been a bit of money for over 2.5 goals in this game. It's now minus 134. I would personally always look at unders for Cagliari because, again, I think they're so limited. I can say James Eastham has a strong lean on Parma for this game. Do check out the European preview show for his thoughts, and he's hit everything this weekend. So Parma, I mean, whenever I think of Parma, I think of Parma ham. I do like a bit of Parma ham, Lewis. But today,
more of a salami man myself, to be honest. But no, I can definitely bit of Parma ham, bit of balsamic vinegar, yeah, a bit of rocket, yeah. I'm on board with that.
They've had a tough fixture list, Parma. They've only had one of the first 5, but I think against a very poor Cagliari team, they could be worth looking at on the money line. We've had a lot of questions about the Villarreal game today, and I've actually got a double going here. Monaco and Villarreal double. Monaco scored with the last kick of the game to win for me on Saturday, and I just need Villarreal to win on the money line. I've got to be honest, though, there's a lot of injuries Both teams have got a lot of injuries here today. Jose Perez is out, the top scorer for Villarreal. Keeper's out for Las Palmas. They've got a few defenders missing too. Moreno's still missing for Villarreal. Minus 250 on the money line. I wouldn't actually go near them on a single today or on the Asian handicaps. And it's not often I would say this, but I actually quite like the under in a Villarreal match, under 3 Asian goals. I mean, you'd have to be a madman to bet unders in Villarreal. But the team news has swayed it for me. I think, we're relying now on Nicola Pepe to get you a goal, which is never the most enterprising of thoughts. I think Villarreal will win, but this actually might be a low-scoring Villarreal win for once. Las Palmas haven't won a game of soccer since the 10th of February. They are a shocking away team. Based on the island of Gran Canaria, of course, they don't travel well. Villarreal probably just about have enough, and it might be one of the few times they could win to 0. But I think it's a no-bet game if you're looking at singles, handicaps. I would lean that under 3 goal line. Well, as I say, there's people coming in with comments here. Every Villarreal match does have both teams score, yes. But, I mean, Las Palmas' top scorer is out as well. Sandro Ramirez. Jose Perez is out. I couldn't be backing any overs or BTTS at these short prices today in this match. But sometimes team news can be overrated. So let's see. We know the style of Villarreal is pretty much open. I'm hoping they win. Kept me this double cashed. But I'm not as confident as I was a few days ago on Villarreal. I'd have a small lean on under 3 goals. But that just feels wrong to be betting unders in a Villarreal game. It really does. League of Ireland then. This is a new one for the show. We've never had a League of Ireland pick. We've got Shelbourne against St. Patrick's, and this is a 2:15 kickoff time Eastern today in Ireland. We've got Shelbourne plus 170 here, St. Pat's plus 163. Not my area. I bet in a lot of leagues, but League of Ireland is not my area, I must say. I can't even remember ever having a bet in this league, maybe a decade ago in the summer when I was bored or something like that. Lewis, you're going to have to enlighten me here. What's the pick here?
The pick is the away win here. It's jumping on this St. Pat's Athletic bandwagon that's been tearing up the league, to be honest, over the past 3 or 4 weeks. They've taken 16 points from their last 18 available, and they're now managed actually by Stephen Kenny, the former Northern Republic of Ireland national team boss, and he's got a great pedigree at this sort of level. Did wonders, I think, was it with Dundalk back in the day, and he's got this team sort of charging towards the top end of the league now. And based on the numbers behind the performances as well, this is the thing that's really drawn me to it. I've seen that sort of flagged up that their run was really, really impressive, and the money was moving towards them tonight, despite playing Shelbourne, who are top of the league away, and St. Pat's are away from home. But the money sort of piled on them this evening, I think, and that sort of triggered my interest and sort of dug a little bit deeper into their recent performances. And it's the underlying numbers behind their sort of great form of late really makes me think they can go to Shelbourne and get a result and probably actually win the game. And yeah, as I said, Shelbourne league leaders at the moment. They've got Damien Duff as their manager. So it's Damien Duff versus Stephen Kenny in the dugout, which is quite interesting. 2 well-known people from UK football over the years. So, Shelbourne are 4 points clear, but are just starting to wobble over the final stretch. It's coming to the end of the season now in the League of Ireland, and just 5 games left. And I think it could be quite an exciting end to the season because there's 2 or 3 teams now chasing them down, and they're all actually in really bad form. Even Shelbourne, they haven't won a game in September, so they're winless in their last 4 games. And I think they're just struggling for a bit of confidence. And Damien Duff has actually read an interview with him earlier, and he's actually turned to Only Fools and Horses for some inspiration, Steve. I know, I'm not sure if our American viewers are aware of the Only Fools sitcom in the UK. I mean, timeless and one of the best ever made. But yeah, he instead of getting his team to rewatch the tactical sort of breakdown of their latest failing 0-0 with Sligo Rovers, they sat and watched episodes of Only Fools and Horses instead for some inspiration. So quite an odd thing to admit, I would have thought, in front of the press, but he doesn't do things by the book, Damien Duff. So, and I'm sort of happy to jump on this lovely jubbly price, Steve, for St. Pat's for the away win. So yeah, they actually the market now rates them as the better team, despite being 10 points off Shelbourne in the league on current form. So if this game was played at a neutral venue, I think they'd be odds on to win. So I don't think there's anything to fear from going to Shelbourne, who are in pretty bad form, and quite happy to back them here on the draw no bet at -120. Obviously, meaning our stakes are refunded if we get the draw. But I do think they'll win the game based on just the matchups of recent form. And you've got to back the form horse sometimes. You've got to keep it quite simple, I think, in betting sometimes. And the St. Pats definitely are the form horse at the moment in the League of Ireland. So I think they can go to Shelbourne and get a win tonight. So yeah, all over that -120 for the draw no bet on St. Pat's.
You'll be dancing from the chandeliers if that one comes in.
Or falling through the bar if they get beat. Yeah, exactly.
Steve Griffin says, I'd sooner bet on Werner than to score than bet on the League of Ireland. Name me. I tweeted something yesterday about Werner because I was on the goals in that Spurs game and he was doing my nutting. Name me a worse finisher one-on-one anywhere worldwide. No. Someone came up with Patrick Bamford, which wasn't a bad reply actually. But if
it's a great question, Steve. That it's a really good question.
It's a great question. I don't think there is one. He's terrible at one-on-one. Is Werner?
It's his body language as well when he goes through. He just doesn't look like he's backing himself to score, and he knows he's going to miss. That's what he looks like when he runs through. It's annoying. It's annoying for him, obviously, because his all-round game is actually brilliant, isn't it? He's a very good link player, moves well. He's offside quite a lot, but he's when he gets in behind one-on-ones, yeah, not for me, Jeff, as they say.
Before we go, we're going to get a couple of bets for you tomorrow on the EFL, yes. Lewis. But I've got a couple of picks. Well, one pick here in Sweden. We are scraping the barrel a little bit for games today, but there's a match that I'm interested in. Brommapojkarna against Västerås in Allsvenskan. And the bet I like is Västerås on the Tino bet at +120. And I mean, we talked about underachievement earlier. There's some ridiculous numbers here. This team has the biggest underachievement I've ever known in any league. They should be 5th in the table on expected points. They should have 37.6 points, and they only have 19. They should have scored 39 goals, and they've only scored 21. I've never, ever seen anything like it in my life.
That's incredible. That's an incredible
underperformance. Crazy. They should be on the knocking on the door of a European qualifying position. But they miss so many chances. I've been burnt all year by betting on the Rovers and all sorts. This is a must-win game for them. Their last 4 matches are really tough. This is probably one of their most winnable fixtures. They've got to go into Brommapojkarna. Bromma, no win in 7 games. I think Västerås are the better team. Well, they are definitely the better team on the metrics and everything. They just need to convert their chances. +120. Tino bet on Västerås here is what I'd be looking at. And if anyone is feeling brave, Abdulrahman Buda to score at any time, +340. He scored in 4 of his last 6 games for them. He's a new signing sort of in the middle of the summer, one of their few players who can actually hit the back of the net. So that would be, I'll probably have to be my best bet of the day, actually. Västerås Tino bet at +120. But as I said earlier, I'm not mega strong on anything today. Just looking through the comments here, Ross says Bournemouth manager isn't on the touchline, isn't he? I didn't even know that. When was he red carded recently?
No, he's had 3. I think he's had 3 bookings this season already. I think so. That accumulates to a ban. Yeah, he got booked at Anfield last week. I'm sure it's 3. Might be 2. I'm not sure, but yeah, and he's not in the touchline tonight. So yeah, that's quite an interesting angle to see because he is quite active on the sideline, isn't he? And I do think he is. His way, he is very one of these managers that seems like in control of when they don't press. So that potentially is an angle. If there's maybe any examples out there where he's missed a game before, has it affected the output of the performance? Yeah, could be something to dig into.
Crazy! I can't believe that already suspended because of bookings accumulation, not a red card from the manager. Well, whilst you're on then, Lewis, you are an English specialist English league handicapper. You know all about the English leagues, Premier League down to, I don't know, probably conference level these days. But there's a massive card tomorrow in England, all across Championship and below. You've got a couple of picks for us whilst you're on. You might as well give them out because I know you're quite strong on them. We've got QPR against Hull. What are you thinking about this match? It's in the English Championship tomorrow. What's the bet?
Yeah, over 2.5 goals at -110. I think this new manager at Hull, Tim Walter, is a very interesting character. He's very attack-minded based on his sort of numbers from his time in Germany with Hamburg. And he's made actually a very slow start in terms of getting his message across at Hull. And I'm not sure the players have instantly got his way of playing the game. And I think he's had to row back a little bit on being so attack-minded. All 5 of his first league games at Hull went under 2.5 goals. But I've sort of been waiting in the wings for things to change here because I do think eventually he was going to get his message across. And when he does, I do think Hull's games are going to be quite crazy. And I think over the past 2 games now, we've seen signs that things are starting to click. And I think they could be a team to follow on the overs line over the next few weeks. So they beat Stoke 3-1, and then they hammered Cardiff 4-1. So both went overs in their last 2 games. But looking at the underlying numbers, they did ship a lot of chances too. So I do think there's going to be evidence that now he's got his feet under the table there, Walter. I do think that these games are going to be quite attractive for overs better. So yeah, over 2.5 there. And I'm also going to tip up Mansfield to beat Crawley in League One on Tuesday night at plus 140. So I'm on Crawley to be relegated this season from League One. They're one of my strongest sort of anti-post plays. So I've been keen to keep an eye on them. They just sold all their players in the summer, all of their key players. I mean, Orsi, Liam Kelly, Corey Adai, all the sort of the mainstay of the team that won promotion were left actually to drop down a level. I think Adai went to Stockport, but I think 2 of them went to MK Dons in the in League Two. So Crawley have had to adapt to sort of going up a level with a significantly worse squad this season, but they won their first 2 games. So I was thinking I've absolutely called this wrong here, and they're going to somehow recruit well and defy the metrics. But things have sort of settled down a bit, and they've lost 5 of their last 6 now. And I do think the big thing here is they've lost their manager as well. Scott Lindsay has gone to join his former players at MK Dons down in League Two. So they've lost the manager who's really highly rated in those leagues, and they got a really inexperienced interim manager in charge in Ben Gladwin. And he's in charge for this weekend until I think there's links with Carl Robinson taking the job, which would be quite an interesting appointment. But he's not. No one's going to be appointed before this game on Tuesday. So I think this is a tough spot for Crawley. Mansfield come here really good form, won their last 3 league games, and they could actually go on level on points with Wrexham in second with another win. And again, the underlying metrics behind those performances really stand up to the test, and they could be a top 6 team this season if they continue on this path. So when you've got a team that's sort of projected to finish in the top 6 against the team who I think probably going to finish rock bottom, just lacking real quality throughout the team. Now they've let go a lot of their players in the summer, as I mentioned. So, and they don't have a manager at the moment. So I just think that plus 140 for the away win for Mansfield looks too good to turn down really at this stage of the season. So yeah, overs at Loftus Road for QPR Hull, and then we're going to try and maybe land a double if Mansfield can get a win at Crawley. Steve,
Nigel Seeley has suggested a bet for League Two tomorrow. Chesterfield to beat Bromley. Nigel is a season ticket holder, I do believe, at Bromley this year, so he gets to see a lot of that team. Harminder Guy says Denmark, FC Nordsjælland against Brøndby. Looking at the goals, I had a brief look at the stats whilst you were talking there about the EFL, and both teams have been involved in some crazy games. The goal line is over 3 with Bet Rivers at minus 113 if you're interested. Can't say I've seen anything of either team though this season, I've got to be honest with you. Byron Muir welcome in there, but we've got to finish the show now. Before we go, best bet of the day for Lewis, remind us of that one.
Oh, it's Milos Kerkez to make 2 or more fouls in the Bournemouth versus Southampton game. Yeah, that Tyler Diblin, who's going to be up against him, he's going to be a superstar and he loves drawing fouls. So keep an eye on that matchup this evening.
Yeah, I think it's a tough day. I think there's some difficult games across Europe, but I would have to go to Sweden for that best bet of the day for me. Tyno bet on Västerås at plus 120, the most underachieving side in Europe as far as I can see anywhere. But hey, Lewis, it's been a great show. Thanks very much for coming on, and we wish you all the best with all those bets across today and tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Stay safe, gamble responsibly, and we'll see you next time on Betting Weekly Live tomorrow. And with the boss, Nigel Seeley, and we're going to be going through the entire Champions League card. So we're looking forward to that. See you around tomorrow, everyone.
Cheers, Steve.